如果说本届比赛你作为观众久久不能忘怀的一场比赛是哪一场？我的是这一场，第一比赛日的泰国 Txd 对印尼Rrq的第3场攀升，到现在我还是一想本届比赛就能想到的一场经典之一。整场比赛印尼队伍把他们的特点展示的最完整的一次比赛，从 B 点开始3波攻势带走泰国 Txd， 给我的感觉就是泰国队伍知道他们要这样打，但是你就是防不住，就是被一波流。你看完我相信你跟我的感觉一样。
Air superiorities. Yeah, I love to see that. A pretty quickly secured. Now we take a look at B. B is not a sector that traditionally takes very long. You're usually able to step up onto B1 fairly quickly and then work your way to B2. Most of the time, the defense is more concerned about maintaining their vehicles. You've got to keep these vehicles alive, get them up the elevator as well, moving into the C sector. Uh-oh, Rrq in a bit of trouble here. Helicopter maybe a bit off a little bit more than it can chew, but able to get that regen in. 3 vehicles down below and it hits! The helicopter goes down! Too aggressive and punished for it. A huge momentum shift for Txd. They got to be feeling fantastic finding our heli operator out of the sky.
Yeah, I mean, the implications of losing that helicopter, we could go on and on and on about what that kind of opens up in terms of possibilities for the side of Txd. You would imagine that they'll probably start to try to maybe invest in some of these vehicles, kind of play them a little bit forward, maybe think about protecting B2. You mentioned it, the B sector does usually fall pretty quickly, but a lot of the times that does happen, the helicopter is still alive. That is a crazy takedown, a crazy win for Txd.
I feel like they just got antsy. I feel like our heli operator just tried to overcommit for a vehicle kill because they feel like they hadn't maybe been able to get as much value as they're used to finding. Attackers still have a nice foothold here on B1 as per the usual. They take B1 very quickly. They take the height, go for the hill between B1 and B2 to prepare for new. But heli down means that these vehicles can get much more active. So the defensive the defensive tanks, still worried about dying. They need to make sure they stay alive moving into the C sector. Can't get too overconfident as well and kind of swing things back the other way. But this is B2 is going to be much more difficult to capture for the attacking side now.
I mean, we've seen our Rrq make some incredible things happen with some coordinated Uluru strikes. I feel like we're going to need to see something like that again if they want to have any sort of a real chance to kind of attack some of these following sectors after, you know, assuming they do take down B2 pretty shortly here. They are kind of approaching B2 with some flanks into the mix here.
Vehicle being called in on the backside. Honestly, well placed to be behind the cliff. Not worried about getting to the fight urgently. They've got plenty of time to get there. A couple of Lulu rockets almost get it weak enough. But tank able to stay alive. That's a nice pickup. Going to get them back up to 2 for the attacking side.
A little bit of a squad here trying to go ahead and obviously get a flank in, but also trying to go ahead and pressure the tank. They're going to be unsuccessful. Shout out to Txd. Well played from them. Sniff that one out and play accordingly. NTPP. Somebody that's been so good at picking up some of these kills. Unfortunately, is like 11 and like 17 already in this map. So not finding necessarily as much success as we are used to seeing him find, but I'm sure we'll tune into him a little bit later and be absolutely surprised at the amount of effort and amount of success he has found just over the course of a couple of minutes. And yeah, like I mentioned, look at this, Ragnarsson on the sniper still.
19 and 5, man. Guy's hitting the shots. I don't know how much it's actually clearing out the point, but
yeah, because I mean,
the stat line's still looking pretty good.
Are you saying he's stat padded?
Maybe.
Yeah, those reses are coming in for sure, and pretty much all of those knocks that he's finding. So just kind of playing a little bit of a nuisance. 150 tickets remaining for Rrq. Mini 14, I personally don't think I've ever used this gun in operations or warfare. So NTPP
it's pretty strong.
knows something I don't. I mean, yeah, it looks pretty good, right? He knows the angles that he's going to be wanting to play, not necessarily going for the sniper, but a long-range weapon indeed. Another vehicle being caught in the distance for the side of our RQ. I think this is actually going to go ahead and equalize things, as there's a giant push here from NTPP, and he's going to be getting shut down immediately.
Yeah, I mean, listen, with helicopter down, it feels like Txd are not in a hurry. Both teams ended up marking the capture points that they already had control of. They wanted to get that extra score. Both teams were successful. So you're going to see their score bumps up for the commander to be able to call in the support systems that they need. Nobody wanting to push too aggressive. We're at 140 lives on the B sector. We got plenty of time before this is even a problem in terms of our live count. This is actually a very similar play to what Txd tried to do in the last matchup on the attacking side. Slow, methodical, work as a unit, go for revives. This is going to be a long, slow, drawn-out grudge match between these two teams. Nobody is in a hurry to get anywhere, Vivid. We're going to be here for a while, before maybe even Sector B is even captured.
Still feels like they have not made any progress at any point on the side of RRQ towards these three vehicles that are still alive on the side of Txd. I mean, losing that helicopter is super tough, and we're kind of seeing the effects of that as it kind of dwindles on further and further. And you were kind of talking about their resilience to go ahead and push. I mean, RRQ just lost a bunch of tickets right there, so now right back down to 130. And I mean, for the vehicles for the side of RRQ, they have a couple available to them, right? This tank hasn't really moved from this vantage point all the way back up on the hill. You can see towards the center of the map is where their other two vehicles reside, and it looks like ATX is all the way in the back here picking up a vehicle of his own. That's going to be an LAV. Now the vehicle economy just looks way too good for Txd. I mean, I don't know what the answer is going to be here for RRQ. I mean, even if you capture B2 again, all of these vehicles kind of just transfer over to the next sector, and they're going to find way more value there than they are here.
Yeah. What a sin. I mean, that's the definition of a full sin there from the lob off the top ropes. Called it in the safety and just send that thing off the ledge and go get into the mix. Again, when you're not worried about a helicopter, you can just go swing on them. I think the classic conversation, the attackers are trying to draw up this fight so they can call in their vehicles, start evening the tide. With both teams securing score along the way, it's just going to be the defense one step ahead of their others. I think the win con now for the attackers for RRQ is they got to have a crazy strike team pick up a kill on one of these vehicles, or Txd make a big mistake, which I kind of doubt that they will. And speaking of mistake, unfortunately, the attackers get punished for maybe a mistake or really just well-placed Allura rockets over the top. Great coordination, couple shots from some of the vehicles that defense has, a couple well-placed Allura rockets, and now the attackers are down to 2 land vehicles. It is vehicle warfare, and Txd are just straight up winning in the vehicle gameplay right now.
Yeah, I mean, they have not been able to go ahead and press pretty much the center of the sector, right? Haven't really made any progress towards B2 at all. I mean, obviously they're trying to go ahead and flood in. They're trying to make some of these flank plays happen, like you mentioned, the strike teams. But for the side of RRQ, like I said, what actually ended up working on trench lines for them was when they had a bunch of engineers get together and shoot some of these Allura rockets. I don't know if I've seen that happen a singular time. By the way, what is happening back there where there's like 10 ammo boxes?
Got to keep that util up. Lob in the back. The attackers desperately need this thing to stay alive, and I'm not sure an Allura rocket will finish this one off, so should be able to get the engineers to repair that lob, get it nice, ready to rock and roll, as Nail is putting down a couple pillboxes for some extra cover. Get anything going. That is a lot of ammo boxes.
I mean, they don't even know it yet, but that might be an objective in its own that RRQ have to take out, right? And they're not even aware of it.
A lot of nades, baby.
The tank is actually going to be pretty close to those ammo boxes. He's going to be like, where the heck is all this utility coming from? So that's a little bit scary. Bowser again playing
Here they
very
go.
far back.
This is a big play.
Finally, RRQ starts to get into the mix, and yeah, as soon as they do, as soon as they try to make something happen, they are successful. That might turn the tides. That might give them the confidence that they need to go ahead and finally make this push happen.
Yeah, again, when you talk about strike teams, it doesn't have to be on foot. That is two vehicles, light tank and the Lov, swing in together, full send, catch one of the vehicles of the defense unaware, and all of a sudden, you look up and it's 4v4 in the vehicle category, which truly has been the delineator. I'm going to be honest. They're trying to full send again, and I can't. Is this going to work? No, they trade out 2 for 1. This is a big win for the defense. I was going to say, my honest take was that was a oversend. I mean, we overcooked on the side of the attackers.
But I feel like
potentially could pick up a lob here on the defense. But Engineer's doing a great job. That was an overcook.
I feel like if they picked up that last lob, and they do, I feel like it would have been worth it. I do feel like, as it currently stands, that might be worth it. With the strategic beacon that they placed all the way in the flank, they're actually finding great angles onto the following LAV as well. Skynet has a very, very small sliver of HP, has to go ahead and survive a couple of rockets by while all of this chaos is ensuing. RRQ have pushed onto the point. They've only got 2 members on the point, and somehow they're capturing amongst all the chaos as well. Txd, they've caught in the urgent redeployment and a strategic beacon. That's actually been active for the last 45 seconds, and they haven't actually found the value that they would have expected to find from it. So RRQ, an absolute swarm onto the point. And take a look at this. They actually did pick up that LAV. Txd lost it.
Sometimes you gotta eat some burnt toast, man.
The tank at the bottom.
Burnt toast tastes good. Hot take. Did they overcook? Yes. Did it work? Yes. 2 things can be correct in the same moment. A great push and a full commit of their vehicles. The attackers are able to clear enough room on the B sectors to take both capture points and move up to some CQB. Not full lives, but 147. Still plenty of lives to work with. Moving into some CQB combat, baby. We are headed indoors into the tunnels. It's going to get weird, and I'm pumped for it.
The tank is finding its way to the top of the elevator right now. RRQ were not able to go ahead and flush themselves into the tunnel to try to go ahead and prevent that. So the tank is going to be healthy and ready to defend some of these sectors, but an early push here from the tank destroyer side of things for RRQ and a bunch of infantry on the ground towards C1. This is actually an incredible push. This is actually going to allow them to have access to that cavern on the backside of C2, which pretty much opens up the possibility of the flank. Now a giant waiting game potentially for the entire side of RRQ, as they do have to wait for the elevator to come back down before they can send their 2 vehicles to the top and have them join the fight, which will make this hold towards the front of C2 a heck of a lot easier for them to approach an attack from the side of Txd.
Tank destroyer made its way into the mix, and the tug of war begins. C1 very easily now held inside of RRQ. This is the foothold they needed to get indoors, start making their push. They know that they slow down here, you could blink and you could be down to 60 lives on the C sector. This sector truly feels like a momentum-based game, but again, RRQ chose Ascension. They wanted the attack. And even with their heli operator going down early, this is part of the reason why. They feel very comfortable with their strategies, and so far it's worked quite well. C1 in complete control.
RRQ look pretty good. They're obviously waiting. This is a big waiting game before this elevator is able to kind of push those vehicles up top. Instantly, when they do kind of push towards the C sector, they went ahead, they captured C1 instantly, and they've just paused. They've kind of taken this playbook out from the side of Txd. That being said, RRQ finally starting to get into the mix. The tank destroyer is finding itself on top of the C2 and on top of the tank. It does a lot of damage, but the killing blow is not necessarily found. Correction, it does get found. Txd lose the tank that they have had since the start of game.
this is looking like a totally different team. The heli went down and they were kaput for a solid 8 minutes. And then everything flipped when they made that extremely aggressive push. And here come the reinforcements. Rrq back on the table. Both tanks come swinging up. And this is going to be a rude awakening here for the defensive side, who feel like they've been able to hold, as now a ton more firepower is going to be joining the mix of the attacking team. Front door, knock, knock, I'm here. Watch out. We got a lot of rockets come slinging down lane. The defense are going to have to back up.
You can see how concerned Skynet has to be in this LAV. It's not comfortable in defending C2 at all because it knows that a giant flank can come in from C1 because they have yet to have any sort of control over that. He's actually going to go ahead and concede his forward position over towards C2 in favor of the tank from the side of Legacy. So now they're going to be kind of split. One's going to be watching the flank, the other one's going to be watching the frontal attack. A little bit of a reset here for the side of Rrq. I unfortunately am not smart enough to kind of pick up on what they are maybe planning to do here. I would imagine what they want to do is send the tank destroyer over towards C1, try to go ahead and make something happen on the flank, and then send the other 3 vehicles the other way towards C2 and try to overwhelm with a little bit of a pincer maneuver.
Yeah, I like to call out the 2 vehicles have moved over to C1. One vehicle still holding big front doors on main right now. The defense has stacked both of their vehicles indoors down main lane. That would be your access point to C2.
Yeah, there it is. I talked about the pincer maneuver. I talked about the flank.
That's
possible from the tank destroyer. He's going to be getting active, but the LAV is also going to be providing backup. Skynet is in for a rude awakening. Instantly destroyed. The tank destroyer does go down, but the LAV is still alive for the side of Rrq. He actually cannot get through a little bit of a tunnel because of the destroyed vehicle, but waiting on the other side, the pincer maneuver in full effect. The tank with open arms says, come this way and meet your demise.
That's a 1 to 2 trade in vehicles, and it's the only 2 vehicles that the defense had. What a push that is well executed into the C sector, and executed quickly too. They just had more firepower, and everything is moving on max cylinders. V8, V12, I don't care what you call this engine, Rrq is flying through these capture points and are making quick work of what otherwise would be a long map here on Ascension.
By the way, the crowd, we talked about how there are some Rrq fans for sure in the stands.
Yeah, they're loving it.
They were screaming during those moments right now. Txd is going to try to make something happen and potentially re-enter these caverns. But that being said, they try to do that, and they are met once again with an incredible, resilient Rrq. They actually go ahead and take out one more vehicle as a little bit of a parting gift, and goes, we combined have watched a lot of Ascension. Have you ever seen a team go towards the last sector with 170 tickets? I can almost guarantee you that there are some guided missiles available for the side of Rrq. Kind of pay attention to see when that does pop up. Yes, indeed, we have 2 available guided missiles. Take a look at the disparity in terms of the vehicles as well. A total of 4 for the side of Rrq. Just 1 single lone tank for the side of Txd. Now, a lot of the times when we do talk about Ascension, what is needed to make this attack feel very, very smooth is the helicopter, which of course is not going to be available, but Rrq have done so good without it, I don't even know if they're going to need it.
They still have way more firepower than the defense. They have this massive vehicle advantage that they're utilizing near perfectly to just throw down so much damage, so much covering fire, so many missiles down range that the defense are having to back up and try to keep their vehicles alive and invest so many resources. They try to call another vehicle out of the sky, immediately cut down. The advantages are all on the side of the attackers.
Uh-oh, no, Skynet. You need this. Txd needs you to stay alive. You're taking so much damage. The engineers are trying their best to go ahead and find the repairs, and it looks like the missiles, they do go ahead and halt for quite some time. And actually, on the other side of things, Txd do find one of the vehicles being destroyed for Rrq, but at the same exact time, one of those vehicles that was falling out of the sky did get destroyed, so Rrq is still sort of staying on top of things.
Gotta hold the line here.
Bro, what?
Look. Trust Malza. Whatever Malza says goes.
This guy needs a minimum of 700 meters between him and what he is shooting at to feel comfortable. Every single time this guy's in a tank, he is nowhere near the front lines, but it is just working so well.
The push is slowed. The attackers are kind of setting their positions, trying to work as a unit. They're not trying to trickle into the point, waste away a bunch of lives. They have plenty to work with.
Uh-oh. Txd finding a lot of damage onto one of those LAVs. And, I mean, what's going to be the breaking point here, right? Because, I mean, Rrq have been very, very methodical. You got to imagine they have a game plan. In my mind, I was looking for them to just send it with a guided missile instantly.
Yeah, I mean, I think burning one early is just not going to be that valuable.
Yeah.
You need to have, again, it's just the thing we always say over and over again.
They've got 3, though.
Yeah, you need to have a coordinated push to be able to follow up on it.
Now let's remind everybody at home, this Spire can be destroyed. Makes things a little bit weird with where the following zone does actually go, but could be something to look out for. You need enough guided missiles for that. I don't know the exact number, but it's a lot.
They've got 3. Again, it's a slow push right now. They have to gain their numbers back up. They have to actually push together as a unit. They're kind of being killed at the line right now, and here comes maybe an opening. Tank Destroyer getting extremely mixy, swinging up onto the low side of this point to open up a potential push for these 4 or 5 attackers who want to find an angle into the zone.
Yeah, because of the terrain, though, of these platforms, staircases, getting your vehicles from the attacking side actually up on this platform can prove to be quite difficult. The Tank Destroyer can probably make it happen quite easily because that thing can pretty much go anywhere, but the LAVs will find it pretty hard to follow. And obviously the defense is kind of holding on in terms of time, but again, we're in this like little bit of a stalemate where it feels like the attacking side is waiting for something to happen. And they're not really losing any tickets. You mentioned it, that they're trying to consistently push this front line that they have up very, very slowly. And once they push all of the defensives back as far as they can possibly go, that's when a guided missile will apply the most amount of pressure and probably find the most amount of value. So if they can continue to push this front line up just a little bit further and further, they're going to be feeling pretty good. That being said, Txd are still fighting back. They do actually destroy one of the LAVs from the side of the attack, but take a look at the kill feed on the left side. A lot of kills being picked up for the side of Rrq.
Slowly but surely walking this defense back. An artillery barrage over the top may dissuade a full offensive push yet. Yeah, the attackers now up to 4 guided missiles now. Could potentially bring this Spire down, but aren't willing to invest them yet.
I mean, we've been here for a very long time. I think they've only lost like 30 to 40 tickets, so they've made a lot of progress, and they've not really invested anything. I mean, yeah, they've lost 1 vehicle, but they've kept Txd pretty far contained. And Malza still off in the distance, still trying to find some value. He's actually positioned, by the way, to destroy any of the vehicles that kind of get spawned in. And finally, here comes the push. Both of the vehicles for the side of Rrq find themselves up on the platform. Full send indeed towards the tank. The rockets come in for both of the vehicles. That works out perfectly. Now
it's working.
They are in full possession of D1. The guided missile to potentially be a giant nail in the coffin. How do Txd respond? Is it even possible?
Like I said, they were waiting for the perfect moment The perfect moment comes on the back of a Lav and a tank destroyer full sending onto the point and a guided missile on the backside. They have complete control. All of the defense spawning underneath, trying to figure out how do we get to the zone and how do we get there fast enough with 2 vehicles sitting on the point. This feels like a matter of time. A perfectly executed game plan and an urgent redeployment is the last remaining hope with a beacon to try to get the defense to get back onto this point. But they are getting mowed down left, right, and center, and another missile adding insult to injury and making sure that wherever you spawn, this missile will find you. And I bet this one lands on the left side as well.
Yeah, if it does, that's pretty much going to be all she wrote. 2 seconds before we see how much value this one finds. 1, 2, 3, 4,
oh
5.
My goodness.
7 kills for the side of Krauser, and he's smiling in the cam in the bottom left. By the way, the tank from Mauser is finally joining the fight. He's going to be here very, very soon. Take a look at the progress bar.
It's
obviously all red, but a giant flank from the side of Txd is trying to make something happen. It's going to be on the back foot of a strategic beacon. They're actually finding some progress, but finally the vehicles are starting to find themselves in the mix as well. Rrq is being lit up in the kill feed. They're the ones in full control. I got a missile from both sides, actually, if they're able to delay for the side of Txd. That guided missile could prove to play spoiler, but with 1 second remaining with a guided missile centimeters away from landing, they do it. Rrq, they are celebrating on the stage like we have never seen before. And those celebrations, they are aggressive. Where they look and goes, they're looking towards the opposite side of the stage. They're letting Txd know what they just made happen.